strengthening our shield that we all have.
About the Bliss Building.
All right, well, thanks everyone. We, of course, have gotten numerous questions about everything about this, and rightfully so, because of what you see, of course, behind us. So I'm going to touch on a couple of things, and then we're going to have just sort of a roll call of different people at the city involved, and they're going to share their perspective, and then, of course, we can take questions. So a couple of things. First off, it's good community feedback. All right, so firstly, look, we want to acknowledge, you know, I was born and raised here. Doesn't matter if you're brand new in town or not. This is iconic Route 66. We all understand that. And we also know that what's happened is very sad at the end of the day. Like, I just want to acknowledge this is a family business. This is a cornerstone of downtown. This is a place where I used to go both as an adult, but also going back to high school. And so we feel for Lindy's, you know, and for the gaping hole in the heart of our city. But we also understand that, you know, these things do happen. These are historic buildings. There's a pragmatic reality to the fact that this is what it means to have a historic downtown. It means dealing with these issues. And so for us, we know that, you know, it feels bigger than obviously just a restaurant or just a building, and it is. However, there's also realities that we got to make sure and keep everyone safe. And fundamentally, what code did just in time no doubt saved lives. Can you imagine if people were in there eating, whether it's staff preparing, etc.? There's pretty much unquestionably lives would have been lost. So I do just want to appreciate that the code enforcement team and so forth did the right thing. We'd been looking at it for a while. Of course, there's routine checks and so forth, but I really appreciate what they did, and I know so do the owners. It just showed how serious this issue was. And luckily we caught it, you know, a week before really it would have just been an absolutely horrendous tragedy. So without too much more reflecting on the past, of course, we wanted to gather to talk about what's next. And so there's a couple of things that have become true. First, I think on the just operating downtown. Downtown is open, downtown is vibrant, the restaurants are still open. We have Art Walk for today on Fridays. That's going to go off as normal. We are shrinking the perimeter of impact to what you now see so that we do have limited traffic on Central. It's one way, but it does, we at least have it. And we've opened up this particular side of 5th Street as well. And we're also making sure that the businesses can get deliveries. And so I think what we've established is for the next, let's say, roughly 60 to 90 days, this is going to have to be the setup. And the setup is obvious because if you look at, you know, it's like a Jenga puzzle in the upper right corner to the left of the Bliss Building. I mean, you can see, like, literally there's half a brick holding up that roof. And we worry about everything from weather, if we get extreme wind, to even, I will tell you, this has come up, challenges around trucks and things driving by and vibrations. So for that reason, this setup here is going to have to stay that way until the building issue is resolved. And I would also mention that even when we do things like our awesome lowrider cruising that we have on Sunday night, we are going to have that. So downtown is going to be open and it's going to be vibrant, but we're going to route around this particular issue. So now I think to the core of the challenge, what we've determined, and we have two opinions on this, is that basically the building does have to come down. There is no short-term reasonable way to secure this building. And we all wanted to prop it up. We all wanted different solutions to reopen it and renovate it. But at the end of the day, now we have an outside opinion and we also have an internal opinion. And the opinion is there's basically no way to even do construction without it being too dangerous. So the building does have to be demoed. We have now notified the owners of that, and we have given them, roughly 2 weeks to find a way to make that happen. Now, how that happens is, of course, up to them. This is private property. They have the opportunity to sell. They have the opportunity to demo it themselves. We understand that. We also understand that that does cost money. Demolition of a historic building that we've already basically know has asbestos is, number one, I want to emphasize, routine. We demo buildings with asbestos all the time, but it is more expensive. And so both of those things are true. So that issue has to be dealt with. Now, after that period, legally, we may be able to do some different things as a city where we may have to essentially do it anyway, because we can't have this continuing to exist as a hazard in the heart of downtown. But right now, essentially, they're on the clock, and we hope they can put together a solution, and we're absolutely there to help in different ways that we can. But if that sort of private sector answer does not emerge, then we will certainly take action. So with that, we're going to hear now more from, and I think I saw Jesus here, which is great. To our knowledge, your building is not in danger. And even from a demo perspective, we know from different demos in the past, we believe, now we're not the ones actually doing it, that it can be demoed without endangering the buildings around it. And again, that is fairly routine. So with that, let's hear from some folks, some experts on this. We're going to begin with our planning director, Alan Varela.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for being here today. As the mayor stated, this is a sad time for Albuquerque to see such a beautiful building on one of the busiest corners in the downtown come to this state. The planning department has two divisions which were directly involved. One of them is code enforcement. Code enforcement's job is to follow up on any complaints or any tips that we get when there may be problems with buildings or other structures in town. They did that. They noted that initially, when we received some tips approximately 6 weeks ago, that there were obvious cosmetic damages to the outside of the building. We could see that it was looking like the stucco was starting to bow out of the building. We then closely watched that over the next several days and weeks, and we saw that we could observe changes happening from day to day. Our other division that's involved is the Building Safety Division. We have a certified building official here in Albuquerque. She's fully credentialed with international credentials in residential and commercial construction, and she has the legal jurisdiction and the authority to go in and inspect and look at buildings and determine what their state is. Her name is Deborah Rowley. She has over 20 years of experience in this field. She's worked in California and San Diego for quite a while and in Albuquerque for quite a while. But the Building Safety Division and the certified building officials' conclusion was the same as code enforcement's. This building is in imminent danger of some type of collapse. To what extent, it was hard to say, but we knew that there were major issues. And so based on that, we went in and we issued an emergency closure order 1 week exactly before the building fell down. We made the restaurant close. We prevented anybody from going in to occupy, even from going in and out to try to get belongings and such, because it simply was not safe. And right around noon, 1 week later, sure as can be, it started falling. And that was during the lunch hour when there would have been people in line probably waiting to get into the restaurant. There would have been people at the tables along the window and along the wall. And so we got it closed. We did the right thing, and we have no regrets about that. Our only regret is that the building somehow got into this sort of condition over the years and wasn't properly maintained. What we've learned about it through the independent engineering firm who had validate our conclusions was that this building was not designed to last much longer than it did. It's comprised of brick walls, 3 layers thick. The brick way back then was not as hardened as brick is nowadays. It met different standards. And so if you think about it, a brick is made from clay, and bricks are permeable. And eventually, as water gets into them, they start to disintegrate. And that's what happens, especially with bricks that were made back in the day before they were as well baked and as hardened as they are now. And so those bricks were starting to deteriorate within those walls. You add moisture to that, and pretty soon you have a wall that has no integrity anymore. And that's what started happening here. We could see from looking at the building that at some point, probably about 30 years ago, an attempt was made to somehow shore it up from the inside. And you can can see the I-beam there, and it's got some risers that hold that I-beam up. That may have prevented it from sliding a bit more for a little while, but it certainly wasn't anything that was necessary to actually shore up the building and preserve it for the long run. So, now, unfortunately, as the mayor said, you could look at technically anything can be saved. One wall, one board could be saved, and you could spend millions of dollars to build something around that. It's probably not at all economically feasible, and from a construction perspective, it'd be very, very challenging and just probably not a smart move to try to bring this entire structure back up to code and preserve some of it. It would have to meet the modern standards for seismic resistance, meaning earthquake resistance, the energy code, the electrical code, the plumbing codes. You'd be looking at an entire full rebuild in a very dangerous set of boards and crumbling bricks, basically. So the city did issue, because this can't go on forever. We understand and we have patience with the owners trying to sort out their house to see what they're going to be able to do. But we did issue a demand that by Friday the 15th, that they either come in and get a demolition permit from a qualified contractor, or they come in and they apply for a renovation permit also through a qualified contractor. The choice is theirs. I think there's only one actual choice that's going to be practical and reasonable. And so we're happy to stand for any questions, but I'd like, before we get to that, to introduce the Director of DMD, Jennifer Turner, and they are the people who control traffic flow and such. And Director Turner has some updates there. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Varela. In the Department of Municipal Development, we oversee traffic control plans, traffic safety, and street closures. And so when Lindy's collapsed, in partnership with APD and the Planning Department and other city departments, in the interest of safety, the city decided to implement the street closures around 5th and Central. However, after talking to other city departments and our independent structural engineer, and looking at the impact of the street closures and what we could do to safely open streets, we determined to open up Central for one direction of traffic on Central. See, as you can see behind me, you can now go westbound on Central. We have also opened up 5th Street in both directions north of Central. And so we have barricaded off the area immediately around Lindy's, obviously for safety reasons, but we do have traffic flowing westbound on Central, and as I said, on 5th north of Central. So we're continuing to monitor the situation, obviously, and I just wanted to close by reminding all of our drivers to drive safe, to keep a lookout for our vulnerable road users, including pedestrians and cyclists, and also to watch traffic signal operation and look out for the barricades. Thank you.
All right, well, as somebody who does love the Sunday night lowrider cruise, I'm so glad that it's back open here on Central and on 5th. Now I want to bring up Deputy Director Diego Lucero, who will talk a little bit about arts and culture impacts here downtown.
Thank you, Dan. Good afternoon, everyone. So, City remains committed to investing in downtown Albuquerque through arts, culture, entertainment, and public spaces that bring our people together. Department of Arts and Culture continues to working to activate downtown with public performances, art, events, cultural programming that encourages both residents and visitors to spend time here and support local businesses. Along this stretch of Central Avenue, several Route 66 remixed installations are already in place, helping bring new energy and visibility to downtown. This includes augmented reality at 4th and Central, which is a augmented reality experience that's new art in new spaces, as well as a second-story mural on top of that Rosenwald building. Additional murals and public art installations can be found at places like the 505 Food Hall, down at the Al Rey, and just creating more opportunities for people to explore downtown, the food, and engage with the area in new ways. This project is part of a broader effort tied to the Route 66 Centennial Celebration, helping create more reasons for people to visit downtown, spend time here, and support the businesses and institutions that make this part of Albuquerque really special. And of course, right here in front of the Chemo Theater continues to be one of the busiest and most important cultural venues in all of the city. Just this week, the Chemo hosted Tarde de Oro, bringing community members together for a celebration of culture and music and connection. And through the rest of May, the theater will continue welcoming thousands of visitors through ballet performances, a battle of the bands, a documentary screening, and graduation ceremonies. Those graduation ceremonies are especially meaningful because the Chemo is more than just a performance venue. It's a place where Albuquerque families come together and celebrate important milestones and really create lasting memories. Downtown succeeds when people have reason to be here. Arts and culture continues to play a major role in creating and the activity and the vibrancy and the sense of connection that we all love. So we encourage both residents and visitors to continue coming downtown, supporting local businesses, attending the performances, and experiencing the incredible art and culture happening throughout the area. Thank you.
Oh, Diego, you were making me hungry talking about all the lunch spots open downtown. Now I want to bring up City Councilor Joaquin Baca to talk about some of downtown.
Thank you. I don't really have a ton to say that hasn't already been said. Huge tragedy. Long time down. All of us that are downtown, this one hurts. Also feel for Steve and Don, who essentially just lost their livelihood and potentially their retirement. But also a big thank you to the community. It wasn't, the reason why the city got involved was because folks actually reached out to make sure that nobody was going to get hurt. And, that's part of being a community. And so, obviously, it does help light a fire on several of our other buildings that are unoccupied, and we have no idea their condition. And so we'll work to strengthen some of the existing ordinances that we have so we can address that. And, no city stays the same. They're supposed to grow and change over time. That's actually a positive thing. So out of the tragedy, we'll get something good here. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Counselor. So we're going to take some questions from the media right now. I'm sure you guys have a handful of questions. And John's hand went up first, and then we'll get to KOB and you.
I guess this is for Mayor Keller. Thanks for having us. So just to clarify some points that you made, the owners have 2 weeks to demolish the building, or you said the city will take action. What action will the city take? Please.
Well, we would look at a number of options, and so that's why we want to make sure and give the owner the choice and the opportunity to do whatever they want to do. We would have to do a lot of different things, like we could go through council, we could look at using tax increment funding to do, all of, you name it, whether it's demo or purchase and things like that. But there's nothing currently allocated. So that process is why our city councilor is here and still there. We would have to begin the process of what the city could do. We're just saying, hey, you got 2 weeks to figure it out, and if not, we'll engage.
And 2 weeks, meaning coming to the city and saying that we have a signed contract with all this building. That's what you want, right?
I think that's what we want. I am going to let Alan, the lawyer and planning director, specifically speak to that.
Thank you.
Yes, that is correct. They've been given till the 15th to either come in and apply for a demolition permit or a renovation permit that includes a make-safe plan and a plan to shore up that structure.
Thank you.
All right. And then I saw KOB, and then you're third.
Are they going to do any inspections on any other old buildings?
The question is, are we going to do inspections on any of the other old buildings in downtown?
And that is what the Councilor Baca was alluding to. We're looking right now at possibly beefing up some of the ordinances. We have the vacant downtown building ordinance, which allows us to determine on the first floor level what the vacancy rates are, and we're going to work together to see if we can beef that up so that we can go inside and take a look at the other buildings that are vacant. Those are what we're most concerned about. Yeah.
And Peter, I saw your hand, but there are other people in front of you here.
My question was just answered.
Oh, great.
So Flamingo Works is connected to the Bliss Building. So are you guys planning to provide some sort of financial aid for, they had a wall that fell down. Is there any way that you guys are going to support them to make sure that that building is still okay?
Diego, can you talk to the Flamenco Works?
So, we're in the middle of the budget season right now. There's significant cuts across the city, which also include the Department of Arts and Culture, which is the fiscal agent for Flamenco Works. So we kind of want to see how the budget plays out and see where we can assist Flamenco Works at this time. But Alan may have a little more to that.
I'll give you a construction answer. The two buildings are not connected to each other. They don't have a mutually supporting wall for either of the roof structures. That building is adjacent to, very close, but independent. And all of our inspections so far have revealed no structural concerns with the Flamenco building.
All right, Peter, you got a follow-up for that?
Whoever wants to take this. So the downtown rumor mill being what it is, there's been a lot of talk about some dark horse buyer coming in. Is the city involved with that, brokering informally or formally?
A dark horse buyer coming in to buy the building. Has anybody heard about that?
Or the parking lot.
Or the parking lot.
No.
Doesn't mean they don't exist though. That's why.
But you're not involved. Okay.
Right. And we're going to handle some of the community questions in a bit, so we'll talk to you in just a little bit after this, but take the media questions first.
How old is the Bliss Building?
I believe it was built in 1905? 1905. All right. Any other media questions? Yes.
Can you just clarify, is it only the blue stucco building that
It is all of this from the turquoise to the pink, including the pink. Yeah, the turquoise area here and the pink area there is all compromised. So, and then,
Do you have some sort of estimate as to how much demolition would cost and how long that would take?
do you want to speak to that, Alan?
We do know if it was done through a public works contract that it would certainly be more expensive than if it's done privately. That's just the way it works in construction pricing. If it is done through public works, you're looking at easily, depending on the amount of hazardous material abatement that has to take place, possibly $600,000 and maybe more.
All right, we're going to be sticking around though, well, thanks a lot for coming, guys, and we'll take community questions here. Come on back here, and we can talk to you, and we'll go from there. Thanks a lot. Don't forget your microphones.